Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Before we start today, I want to thank my sponsors, my friends from Las Pichoneras, Jake, Sergio, and Jonathan. I also want to thank David Gastelum. If you're thinking of buying or selling a home in the Imperial and San Diego counties, make sure you contact David at 760-235-9576. Yeah. And also, I think I should do this because everybody's been talking about it, and it is a big deal. I want to congratulate Andy Ruiz for winning this weekend. It was something that, unbelievable. Like, just him being in that fight, it was something that wasn't supposed to happen, and it happened. So congratulations to him. And today we're here with Mr. Roberto R Pozos. He's an artist from San Diego, but originally from Calexico.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jose.
Normally, I like starting off by having my guests, tell us a little bit about themselves.
Okay.
Earlier, we were talking about, that you're not, you weren't born here, but you were basically raised here in Calexico,
Yes,
right?
I was born in Tepatitlan, Jalisco, de Morelos, and I came to Mexicali when I was 2 years old with my family, which then we moved to Calexico and been here since till 1979, till I graduated in IVC in 1981, and then I transferred to San Diego State, where I then stayed. But I come back and I'm here all the time.
So you've been in San Diego since?
Well, I transferred there after IVC and started my career and basically made it my home, but never really left Imperial Valley. I have family all over, and my mom lived here for many years, and I continue coming. So I don't feel I am from there or from here. I just like to be from where we're at, and it's all our territory here. So.
Because I think it was Friday, I was talking to John Moreno, and he's always having these crazy stories about growing up in Calexico.
Yes.
I basically grew up here. I got here when I was 8. I've been here like 30 years, more or less. But I grew up in Las Pichoneras. I don't know if you know Las Pichoneras.
Oh yes, I know where they're at.
So
my sister lived there.
Oh really?
Yes.
So I grew up there, and basically, to me as growing up was like Las Pichoneras and then Calexico, and I was like my little world.
Yes. Well, I had my little world too.
So I want to know more about
Oh, my little world was between 2nd Street and 3rd Street, and I lived on Encinas. So a block from the border, a block from Mexicali, and that was my neighborhood, and that's what was my little world. My playground was the alley.
Oh, really?
One of the paintings I have here is my alley, Callejon.
That's crazy.
So just so many adventures and good times there, and memories that I felt that was something I wanted to paint.
Were you, as a kid, like...
Pretty much always. Well, I tried to write on paper. Probably the walls, but I don't remember that back. But I was usually carrying some kind of paper and pencil and drawing since I was maybe 7 or 8, very, very young. I remember drawing in 2nd grade and having my teacher like my drawings, and I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought everybody could draw, so it was like, But then I noticed that in 2nd grade, 4th grade, a little difference. And by then I was already doing all whatever they wanted me to draw for decoration purposes.
Yeah, I was talking to Maritza. Oh, and thank you to Maritza for
yes, thank you, Maritza Hurtado,
for reaching out and letting me know that you were going to be down here and that we could talk. Yes. She was telling me that it was a big deal in high school for you to make signs for Happy Birthday.
Oh, memories in high school with Alice Madonna, my art teacher, who we all have fond memories, and she was a big supporter, and just whenever she saw talent on students, she was just there supporting us, and she saw mine early on and kind of helped me have a focus. And when people had birthdays or whatnot, I would draw for them, so many different occasions. But I remember them picking their own subjects, like draw me this and draw me that. There were some little popular characters back then.
Yeah, I think Maritza said
the I would just make him large, and she wanted to,
Did anybody tell you, any girl tell you, like, draw me like one of your, was it like that Titanic line? What is it? Draw me like one of your friends.
Well, I don't think they trusted me to that point, but I probably would have done it,
Yeah. So you went to San Diego and then you finished school. And then how did you become involved in the art scene over there?
I think that I really never got involved in the arts. I think I was always kind of in the arts in a way because as I was in high school, it was my pastime to draw and to create drawings of all kinds, and they just led me. Then in IVC, I joined the newspaper, The Mirror. So I was the editorial cartoonist and did cartoons there and published them. And I wanted to be a cartoonist. And then from there, I joined Mecha. So I did all the publicity material. In fact, I didn't want to be an officer. I created publicity director so I could do the graphics and the art and help out. I felt that was my strong thing. So when I went to San Diego State, I continued that. I joined Mecha and I joined the movement and trying to get more Latinos in college and just enjoyed all that.
Talking about movement, I feel that here in the Valley, I live in Calexico and I know people here and there in the Valley, but I feel that Calexico or Imperial Valley, many of the youth aren't as political as we should. That's how I feel. I don't know what you.
Yes, I'm not sure about politics and the youth here, but I know that when I was growing up, I had encouragement from people that just saw my potential, and if I didn't see it, they would steer me. So I thank them a lot for that, and hopefully this youth that are finding this political thing, they could find themselves some
Do you
help.
feel that it is important for you to use your art as a political tool, or
if I mix my art with politics, I think I'm gonna be a different kind of artist. I think by painting my feelings, my surroundings, and my environment, whether I paint the border or I decide to paint Cesar Chavez or my own designs based on the Aztec and pre-Columbian culture. Am I being political or am I just expressing myself? It's up to the viewer to decide that. I'm going to let them decide. Yeah.
Because if you paint Cesar Chavez, you're obviously painting.
I'm making a strong statement there. Yeah. My family was farm work. When we came to Mexicali, like I said, and my mom would cross the border, even though she was born in Brawley, and she was taken as a 5-year-old with her mom and dad and 2 younger sisters to be raised in Tepatitlan, where they were from. This is in 1932, where the Expatriation Act. So, as over 450,000 families were expatriated, many with children that were U.S. citizens. My mom was one of them. And when she decided to come back, it was after my mom and my dad split. So I was 2 years old now, and as we came through Mexicali, we were naturalized by my mom as citizens, and she wanted a better life. She knew where she came from. She basically stood up for being a citizen, and because of that decision, my family has an extended family and cousins and aunts, and they've benefited from that one decision.
Going back to the Chicano part,
yes,
and going back to the kind of like it weighs in with the our youth not being involved. For me, I'm kind of confused as to what a Chicano is, because I feel that living here,
very good question. There's a big contradiction right now as to Chican X, Chicanos, what is it?
I feel that here we don't really feel the need to pick who we are.
No, and that's my upbringing. I have that same upbringing. I don't feel I had to be a Chicano or Mexican American. I was bicultural, bilingual, like all my friends were. We listened to rock and roll and we listened to rancheras, and we just had this balance and camaraderie with Mexicali. So once you get to a bigger city, though, you do feel the difference. Mm-hmm. And I felt a calling, and was to get Latinos in college and to talk to my family and to do whatever it took to take us out of that state and get us educated into a career. And since I was going through this, and I had a very difficult time thinking that I didn't want to go to college, and I went on recommendations from my counselors, and my teachers were always, and I wanted to go to art center, but I didn't have the money, but I did get accepted. And my art teacher helped me get accepted, but that discouragement and so on, at one point I said, "Ya pa qué? I've been drawing for the community. I've been, doing artwork, graphics around here. So I didn't have a vision as to what was coming, and it took that leap into the unknown. None of my family had graduated from high school or gone to college of any sort of way. They were, working, and to go to school sometimes meant you're not bringing any money in. Yeah. So I decided to do that and to pass that along. So I became very involved in Mecha, and I was just recruiting in the high school conferences where we would invite high schools from all over to come in and have seminars and classes, and the message was to come to college. And I spoke to them and gave them my story, and I called the gaps that we all have, and mine were strong. So I felt that I needed to pass it along, and I still do. I continue to encourage that. I'm a Mecha alumni, and being a Chicano or being Mexican American is a state of mind. To answer your question, you can take it and connotate it any way you want, whether you want to see it negatively and or not. But the truth is that it is a consciousness of being not from Mexico and being from here and having that cultural tie to Mexico. So that really unites us in a way that helps unify our goals. So if you are able to then accept that, then you can be a Mexican American if you want. You can be Hispanic if you want, as long as you have a consciousness that we have this connection of being in a country that we are living in with our culture, strong values, and we vote, we take care of things, but we connect to our roots, and being a Chicano means that to me, and I'll continue to call myself that and Mexican American at the same time.
Do you feel that there's a stronger sense of that Chicano community in bigger cities or cities where there's a bigger Caucasian, or not only Caucasian but like more diverse community? Because here, I want to say 95% of the community is Mexican.
Well, unfortunately, the bigger the cities are, the more spread out it's going to be, and you're going to have pockets of very active people in the movement. We call it the Chicano movement. And in San Diego, definitely you have a strong movement and big support of the Chicano movement. And it's important for us to continue that, whether it's in a small way or a large way. But you see it in Chicano Park, for example, with the pride of Barrio Logan. You see it in other cities as well, like Olvera and East LA. So you go to most cities and you will find pockets of this, and it is strong. And like I said, there's mechas throughout the country. And
do you feel that it's because we have Mexicali here, so like there's no sense we don't feel separated from our culture? We have it right next to us.
We don't feel that separated, but yet we don't live there. We're here, and there is a distinct separation there.
Yeah, I think that we're in this limbo where
and being a Chicano and accepting the Mexican American state does make it simple that we never left and we're here. The border crossed. All that is fine, but the truth is that we go home and we have our meals and we go to a concert and we're living a dual cultural life. And accepting that is
and I feel that at least for me, that I never went to San Diego like for school or whatever. I just stayed all my life here so far. But I feel like more and more that it's kind of, because I work at the high school, so I kind of see that more and more kids are wanting to go away to college or universities.
Yeah. So I think it has to do with opportunity. I did the same thing. If this city would allow me to use my career goals, I think I would have stayed. But I chose graphic design, art, and as an art director of my own company, Pozos Creative Communications, I've been able to help and work with many Latino organizations, designing from logos to brochures, such as the Centro Cultural de la Raza logo. I did it back in '87, I believe. Casa Familiar. I've done logos for the Calexico Foundation. Calexico Housing Authority so many years ago.
Oh, really?
Libros. I'm being able to design material that has been used in the community, and I've always strived for very clear, professional looks that are proud. I don't skimp on it. En contrario, I give them more. So whether it's a political campaign material that I design, or whether it's a book cover I design, or brochures for nonprofit organizations, I always treat them like with the utmost respect. In fact, there used to be a mentality wherever you did the material in English and you did the material in Spanish, you would do an inferior Spanish, because it was just translation. Well, I don't take that approach at all. I consider them both as important, and I will give them both that importance, and that's how I feel as a person.
So do you feel that if you would have gone to San Diego and come back, you would have had the same success here? Or?
I would have probably still continued doing what I do in some other way or another. But being in San Diego has allowed me to do projects and ventures that with people from Calexico, by the way. One of them is Armando Maldonado. He's class of 68. And we teamed up as associates, and we've had publications together, and we've many projects as far as video. He's a great video director and post-production person. So with my graphics and him, we were able to do a lot of work. So I've teamed up with photographers, I've teamed up with good writers and excellent teams, and just being able to do more in that sense of using my ability and what I love to do, which is design and paint and such, in a way that I can express it back to the community.
I feel that doing this podcast, I've been, snooping around Facebook a lot, Instagram, and I've gotten to find out about a lot of local artists. Like there's a guy named Jared Storm in El Centro. He has the kayak club. There's a guy named Young Manners. He's a rapper, but he also does really good art. Eddie Schiffer, he does amazing art too. And he's working at the high school, and he's having these kids do some amazing murals at the high school.
That's fantastic.
And do you know if maybe in the future you might be willing to come down? Oh,
most definitely. As I'm getting further in my age, I have found myself creating more paintings and enjoying my liberty as an expressive artist. So definitely I would like to share that, and if I can be of any influence to any of that or being part of it, I would like that.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your company, Pozos Creative Communities?
Yes. Well, I started in 1985, and May 5th, I was working at Hardcore Brace Jovanovich, publishers, doing college books after graduation as an intern. But at the same time, I was already designing for many nonprofit organizations and businesses in San Diego, some such as the Centro Cultural de la Raza, Mexican American Foundation, which was very big back then, and working with friends who were also in IBC that worked at the foundation. We worked on newspapers and so on. So I was already doing multiple pieces that I was having a hard time finding a full-time job doing this because I was busy or I simply needed to work. So I ended up with a portfolio that was pretty strong. So I made the jump to be my own boss and got myself a license in 1985. So now I'm in 34 years of business. So I've really worked for myself all this time and enjoyed it every second of it. Being able to have associates, employees that are just great to work with, and the community that's also been very supportive. That I have to really say the community has been very supportive. I have friends that I've had for over 30 years, 20 years, clients that I've had for over 20 years, 25 years, 15 years. Casa Familiar is another one that I'm very proud of because I worked for them when they started. Chicano Federation, just many great memories with working with all the executive directors and doing their work. And so just glad of my company being able to, as far as being able to use the painting skills and the drawing skills, it really has to do with why I work for myself. Because when you're multi-skilled, it seems to be like it's more difficult to find a job because you're now I would say you're you're running several things. So when you work for yourself, I'm able to offer all this through my conceptualizing of the design I'm about to do. I don't have to search the internet for an image. I can create it. I'm also into photography, so I'll stage things, I'll direct things. So I believe in working from scratch, and because I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about, you have a mural at Barrio Logan? Or?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
No, I've designed posters for Chicano Park Day. They have competitions, and I've been privileged to have designed 3 of them with the committee, and just wonderful. Also, many Chicano organizations in San Diego I've been able to work with and be part of their efforts. So, yeah.
That's good. Tell us about the exhibit you have here all this week. It's going to be all this week, right?
It's going to be starting today till Friday with a closing reception on Friday at 6, so everybody's invited. And the collection came about because I've been painting a lot. I've always painted, but for the last year and a half, I've been really enjoying it more, and not more, but more regularly, with the mentality that I wanted to put a show together, and a show here in Calexico. I felt that was something that I needed to work on when the time came. I began doing this, having this idea about a year ago. And as I came here, apparently there was also a movement by Javier, as he spoke to me, Moreno, that they were trying to get this exhibit going also on their end. So it was good to hear that the other people were actually working on the same goal.
The stars aligned.
And the stars aligned. So then I had an option whether to collect some of the art that I already sold or people own, which they are always in favor to let me use it to put it. And I decided not to. I decided to bring my collection that I felt are pieces that I like very much. I left some. I did not bring some, but I brought what I felt was a representation of what I love to paint, the subjects I enjoy, whether I feel happy or sad, the paintings reflect that. Whether I travel to the mountains or to the desert, or I reflect that. So the simplicity is I'm just reflect my surroundings.
So all of these are your personal paintings? My
personal paintings, all of them have a purpose and a reason for them. I can tell you a story about every single one. That is my alley. That is in between 2nd and 3rd Street. I played there, got into fights. I played marbles, and oh boy, every single game that you remember, I played it there, and chased dogs, baseball, climbed fences, and that was the alley, the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I was talking to you about this one, the Border Motel.
Your story is just wonderful. And he apparently had an incident where you almost drowned.
Yeah.
So that's your memory. This one, my memory is walking around and kind of seeing that sign. So whenever I would drive to Calexico, I see the old signs from this era that just are just so
that's
great.
A classic sign.
And it almost felt like I was looking at some kind of a big monument, and I felt, I'm going to paint this. So I took photos. I walked around.
See that you painted it with the pool taken out. The pool's not there.
Yeah, the pool's not there. So I painted it as it is today, or as it was years ago when I had the idea and I had some of the images. But I combined several images to create that, and I wanted
that sign is, it's kind of reminiscent of like the 50s, right? Like
it's from that era, and then you still have them having a color TV.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
So so all these are yours, and do you have a favorite one?
I have many favorites, and I love them all. I try not to be as attached as I used to be. I feel that the process of creating is something I enjoy a lot. So when a piece merges with an individual, I find it to be a great thing, and I give it my blessing and thank you. And I know that they kind of belong together. So in a way, if people like my work, it's great. Just great.
Yeah, because I imagine if you get to attach and you were to sell.
Well, I went through my phases. You do a good work, you want to keep this, you want to keep that. But as I'm discovering the satisfaction of having others enjoy it, and as much as I did, as I was painting it, has become really important to me.
I think, I saw Cesar Chavez over there.
Yes.
That one's pretty nice.
That's Eagle Chavez. So you'll see an eagle right through his face, and it's going right through his eyes. So it's really part of him. He's no separate than. It's hard to separate him from the UFW and all he did for the farm workers. And the UFW continue. They just had their 50th anniversary. They continue. I had the privilege of meeting Arturo and who's running the UFW and
I have a friend who's she's her niece, his niece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I see a guy in a zoot.
Yeah, that's I call that one zoot. So I took the suit out, just suit, and it's a person just standing there proudly, and he has his outfit. It's a natural pose. So I wanted to paint something with that pride that showed that we have this uniqueness. And
because that's really.
I mean, that could be considered a political statement back to the.
Yeah.
So but it's not to me. To me, it's just the way we are.
So you try to really stay away from.
Well, I let the viewer decide about that. When you do something to create controversy or to make changes, then I think your painting now has been influenced. But if I paint the border, for example, as I drive by it now and I see it looking militarized, I get very sad. So I'm curious to see what kind of painting I'm going to do on that one. Because I would like to project that ugliness.
I think I can relate with you on that sense that, a lot of people would want me to use this platform as a political.
There you go.
And that's not my goal. My goal is to put out facts or what I feel.
And inevitably, I think it's all sometimes tied together like a net, and it does come together politically at one point or another. So that's inevitable. But to try to make that the focus for me, I can't. It's similar with you. If it happens, it happens in the process. And it was probably part of the painting or part of the design. Or it was meant to be. So
yeah, I mean, you throw a little you call them Easter eggs, or you hide something in there,
Well, that could be. Yeah, you let them find it themselves and make their own decisions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when people come to your exhibition, what do you want them to go home with? What do you want them to go feeling like when they see these?
Well, that they can do it. Why not? I mean, it's not something impossible. I don't consider myself successful in any way. I just feel like I'm sharing my art, and if I thought any different, I would not be honest with myself. But I want them to take away a sense of pride in who they are also, and the simpleness that we have, and ties that we enjoy, such as my folklorico, and yet we enjoy the beach, and we have the same sunsets, and so I just capture my views and share them, and so I want them to take a sense of their own surroundings. They can look at their own life and go, wonder what I would paint, if I painted my surroundings or my world.
Yeah, and your feelings, right?
Or your feelings, yes. It could be abstract, but I do paint many abstracts, and there's a few here that I do simply because sometimes you don't feel like painting anything, and the feeling itself is what you want to paint.
The class of 2019 is about to graduate 9 days from today. Wow. Is there anything that you
Oh, yeah, definitely. Graduating is just the beginning of a journey that you don't know where it's going to take you. But if they have inspirations and aspirations to do anything, that they can use their creativity or their intuitions to definitely explore them. Sometimes working to just work might be okay in the short term, but if you have dreams of any kind, you need to do them. You need to, even if you fail, you need to continue doing them. There's always going to be up and down. So I would tell them, don't give up and keep going to school. High school is just, it's one school, so they need to keep going.
Yeah.
And graduate with a bachelor's, master's, doctorate. And
do you feel that, an education is,
It's essential now. It's crucial. You almost can't compete anymore. And even AA and a BA has become like a high school diploma. You really need to get good grades, not just go to school and work hard. Yeah.
So you've been in San Diego for 30 some years now.
Yeah, since 1981 when I graduated and went there.
How often do you come down here?
I come off very, very often. My daughter lives in El Centro. My daughter's name is Lillian Pozos. I have 2 grandkids. 9 is Robbie's age, and Victoria's 3. Her husband, Martin, they live in El Centro, so I come visit them quite often. I also have relatives in Calexico, many cousins, and relatives in Heber. And so Imperial Valley is very much home. Okay. So my mom used to live here, so I would come more often to Calexico. Now I more often come to El Centro, and I visit Calexico.
So what?
When I get nostalgic, I come to Calexico.
Okay, but what do you feel like where Calexico's at? Like, where would you like to see it? Like, I don't know, like in 5 years or 10 years?
Well, it would be great to see it beautified. Yeah, my memories are different when I remember having neighborhoods with pride of ownership, and sort of what you see in the nice neighborhoods of Calexico. But I was raised in Old Calexico, where it's now called Old Calexico, and I didn't know that, but that's fine. But I would like to see things beautified, maybe some kind of system that would show pride in the city, even bring out the great subject of being, bicultural, being in an example of what it is to coexist the way we do. I think has these messages that other cities could learn from, because we live it. And I say that because I left and I was able to see back and look at what we had. I mean, it's just beautiful.
I mean, even for me that, I've been here like 30 years, more or less. I remember, walking around Calexico and like seeing people like taking care of their yards or
cars are parked in the yards. There's, it's just little different that I remember. Maybe public art would be great. I don't know, maybe a system where students can explore that. And even a permanent art gallery would be great. This place is wonderful and it's great, but it also used for multiple things. But to have an exclusive art gallery would mean a lot for any city, I think. And creating a museum, creating a place that is just for that instead of mixed. And it's appreciated, but it would be wonderful to one day have that here.
Yeah, I think being appreciated and having a sense of ownership, would really help, like the youth, like to say, like, I made this. Yeah, let's take care of it.
Yeah, I have those memories. The little work I did here and there. I worked as a kid for the Calexico Chronicle while I was in high school, and I worked at the public library. This is all during high school, and it was wonderful because I was able to draw for the library and their projects and use that. And at the Calexico Chronicle, Mr. Steplin gave me an opportunity to do an ad for a poster contest, and I still have the image somewhere. I was actually interviewed by Calexico Chronicle, and I shared the stories. I believe the story came out, so I'm looking forward to reading it. Okay. And it just that was opportunities given to me by looking at my merit and that I could, potentially have the ambition for it. And I had people believe in me, people that actually put it out there and said, okay, here, try it, show it to me. Yeah. So people would go to high school and ask for an artist to come into their businesses and do something, and they would pull me out of art class. And so I did things for friends who are still my friends, and they remember that story.
You know what? And I think Eddie Schiffer, I'm gonna give him props because he's doing a lot of good things with the kids, with the art here at Calexico High School. Maybe you guys can be in touch. He's done a murals here on the border, and he's done a lot of good work. I feel that he's giving these kids a lot of freedom to express themselves in that sense. And I want to ask you something. Next time you're driving down Rockwood, before you get to the bridge, look at the Virgin Mary and that Christ. Maybe like put it in a painting, because that's, if you see my logo and for my podcast,
Okay.
That's my, because that's, that's
Are you
my,
commissioning a painting?
I don't know.
Well, that sounds like a nice one. So you identify with that. See, we all have our little pieces that we look at it and we just go back. And sometimes the smell is enough for me. I just drive down here and I take a deep breath and I'm in Calexico. Or the night wind, and just those things are in our system.
Yeah. Well, we're a little bit over 30 minutes.
Oh.
I think that's a good time for people to listen, because I'm just like, when you do it a little bit longer, like they tune out.
Okay, well,
but we got a lot of good information.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that I forgot to ask you that?
I would like to add that this all came about because Blanca Morales sponsored and advocated with her staff to have this happen, and she went to my art studio and said, "Do you want to do it?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I've been working on this for a while." And he said, "Well, it's about to happen. If well, let's talk about how we can make it work." And all that has now turned into this. They're celebrating, the Calexico Wellness Center has celebrated 1 year and servicing patients here in Calexico. So what they're doing is wonderful. So I'm also showing some art in their office, in their waiting room there. So you can walk from here across the street and see more paintings. So I'm trying to tie the community and spread it so that have some fun with the show.
That's good. Well,
I'd like to invite everybody also to come and see it. It's going to be here till Friday. Just have some time.
Yeah,
stop by.
I posted the flyers that Maritza gave me. Okay. I'll keep reminding people. But yeah, thank you for coming down. Thank you for bringing your art, because I know it's probably not easy bringing out all these pieces.
It's a little bit of logistics, but it gave me focus to make this happen.
Is there anywhere that people can contact? I don't know if you have Facebook or Instagram, or are you into this social media stuff?
Sure, it's inevitably now you gotta be in it. But definitely, I have a Facebook account, and I also brought flyers to give away, a small poster as a token of appreciation for anybody that comes to see the show. They can take that. I have contact information there, so yeah.
Okay,
so pretty easy to get a hold of.
Okay, yeah, because I Googled you. I was trying to look for your. I don't know. You have Instagram or?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Okay, well, I'll give you my account.
yeah. I was like, because I was trying to see.
It's abbreviated, so that's probably why. It's Rob R Pozos.
Oh, okay, my Instagram. That's probably the reason I couldn't find you. But yeah, I really want to thank you once again for giving me this time. I know we were trying to do a Facebook Live, and this technology sometimes doesn't work.
Technology.
Yeah. Once again, I want to thank Maritza for contacting me and letting me know that you were going to be there.
Thanks, Maritza Hurtado, for all her hard work.
Yeah, and everybody that's involved in these events. I really don't come out much because I'm a little bit of I don't do well in social places. Like I'm trying to block the people that are
quiet and still be here.
I'm trying to block the people that are here because, I
you don't seem like a quiet person.
No, because once I get in my groove,
that's wonderful.
But normally with like people, I kind of like.
We'll definitely be here for our closing reception on Friday, and so thank you very much for
all right.
Closing reception tomorrow is the Distinguished Artist Award, and that'll be at 6:00. So I'm very honored there because the Chamber of Commerce and the California Arts Council and the city of Calexico has.
Isn't Assemblyman or somebody coming down?
Yes, we're having.
Okay, but yeah, tomorrow Tuesday,
that's at 6:00.
4th, is it tomorrow? Yeah, Tuesday the 4th at 6:00 here.
Yes, there'll be distinguished people here to make the recognition, and I'm honored to be recognized with the other folks who are just wonderful, inspirations in that same tree. They're all from Calexico, so to be part of that is just a big honor. Okay, well, fantastic honor.
Well, congratulations,
thank you very much.
And yeah, make sure everybody swing by and check out the art and be here for the ceremony.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye-bye.